people? Welcome to the Pretend Podcast. Hey, I'm Gavin.
And I'm Craig.
And you have made it to the season finale.
Yeah, we have made it to the season finale, which is unexpected.
Man, and almost in real time for once. It's closing in on the end of the year. As you might have noticed, a lot of our episodes were recorded months before things were actually released. But this one's not too far off.
It'll be pretty close.
And
there's been weird hiatus. Yeah.
For the Pretend Podcast. Actually, I realized just saying it this time on the final episode of this season that maybe we shouldn't have named the show something with two P's because it's very so like
we're just blowing it out.
Two Sylvesters hanging out. Podcast. But you know, can't change it now.
No, I mean it's popular. So if you change it, it'll ruin everything. Yeah.
But thanks so much for joining us, and if you've made it through season 1, thanks.
Yeah, you're one of a select group.
It's hard to get any real feedback going, but at the same time, we're having fun doing it, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
we're making this happen, and we decided to wrap it up with episode 13 because it's a nice tidy number,
a nice round number. Yeah,
it's like anyone can end things on 10, 12, 14.
Something that's divisible by another
not
number.
even have seasons.
Yeah,
most podcasts don't even do that. But we figured a good even 13 would be a good way to do it. And you know, we might pull an Invisibilia and not come back for another 2 years, or you know, we'll just start cranking these out again.
You never know. You never know.
We'll keep some tidbits going to keep you posted. But I think we're down. You down? Are we signed on for season 2?
Season? I think so. Yeah. I mean,
did we get picked up?
I mean, I think we did.
Okay,
I feel like, you know, I mean, it's really just, you know, like a good excuse to hang out and talk and drink some, and I like doing all those things. And if I get to wear these cool headphones and my ears real hot,
that's really good.
And see my voice turn into a line on a little recorder there.
Oh yeah,
you know, I'm down with that. So I'm good with it.
I think put some reverb on it.
Whoa! I feel like I probably need to figure out some way. I just lost my thought. I did that a lot.
Just to stay on track. Is that
To just like
two ADD guys doing a podcast.
That's right. I feel like we're not. It's not like it's not like your cure podcast. Like that has a very specific and possibly limited sort of interest, a focus group. But it has people will seek that out and find it.
Yeah,
just you and me talking about things.
Nobody knows. Yeah, even people that know us, which is the one core thing, don't really want to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean our wives don't listen to it. There's like, I'm good.
Yeah, and then you know for each episode, it's like that one person that really loves Tales from the Crypt. They'll listen once, but they're not going to come back.
Finally!
There's no common thread, but you know that's what's fun. We'll pull you in, and in this episode. We got even a finale theme. But before we jump into this episode, anything to recap to this point? Do you have a favorite episode?
Because I'm not at all musically inclined and can't play an instrument or anything, and Gavin is the exact opposite. He's a super impressive musician. He can sing, he can write songs and shit. I really appreciate the tiny little opportunities that I have had to, it's not really the right word because it's too nice, but to perform a song with Gavin and to be recorded in any medium is super cool. That's
They've
like
been
getting to
highlights for me too. I enjoyed our Kraftwerk cover.
That did actually come
our
really
tribute
well.
to B. Arthur just recently. And I feel like there's another one in there, maybe. But
there could be. We drink a lot, so it's hard for us to remember.
We shouldn't put them at the end, but it is meant to be a reward for somebody that sits
it's like,
through.
Thanks for sitting through the conversation about B. Arthur's,
but,
left butt cheek.
Maybe one day when this takes off, we'll release just the songs as an episode in itself.
Or
like
just an album.
Yeah, like a straight up on vinyl.
Yeah, we'll come up with an awesome band name.
100 gram vinyl. We'll do a Kickstarter to fund our vinyl of all our hits. But
I really enjoyed that because, like, you know, for you it's probably kind of a pedestrian thing to record a song, but to me it's special. Yeah, so
never gets old. So yeah. Do you have a least favorite moment from season 1? Where you're like, that just didn't work at all.
I don't really like listening to the sound of my own voice, so typically I will try
episodes 1 through 12.
Yes, all of them. I will try to like kind of listen back through on just like trips to and from work or whatever. But I always just end up thinking, oh my god, you're such an idiot, Craig. You're such a dumbass.
Well, I feel the same way about myself, so I feel
there are times when I'm like, that was funny.
Yeah.
So I do tickle myself at times, but mostly. Good. Yeah, I try to avoid really, like, because, you know, it's weird to hear yourself talk, especially given just how much alcohol I've often had. I like the ones, actually, where I have no recollection of them, like most Star Wars episodes, where I'm like, oh, I said that! Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
It's like, that's a good point, Craig.
Oh, past Craig, past drunk Craig, that's really smart.
I hadn't even thought of that.
I love it when I say something in one that makes me go, I should drink more. Mm-hmm. I'm really smart when I drink.
Totally. Yeah, and it is such a thin line with, you know, being a fairly technically quiet dude. I know around my friends I never shut up, but like I don't really like chit-chatting that much, you know, and stuff. So like
small talk is the worst.
It's like so it's tough. If I don't have drinks, I won't talk at all. And if I have too many drinks, I'll talk a lot, but you won't understand any of it. So,
I don't know. A glass.
It's been the quest of my life to find that medium ground somewhere in there where I can
in some way, shape, or form. I think everybody is on that quest.
Yeah, maybe, you know, but yeah, thanks for sticking with us, anyone that has listened, or if you're just popping in for the finale, which would be a weird thing to do, but I'm not complaining. Sometimes you gotta start at the end and work backwards. I've done that before.
That is the way to watch Friends.
Yeah. Ooh.
you love Joey.
Oh, my God. But, so we thought this final episode of Season 1 should have a theme. So we're like, let's do finale theme. And it was weird, because all throughout this show, if you haven't been following along, we usually throw something slightly vague like that out, and then almost on a psychic level, a lot of times we match up sort of the perspective of how we do it, because there are
a line.
There's like things that, you know, you could take it one way or another way, and usually we match it up. But this time, I think we kind of didn't, which is kind of funny for the finale. I took the perspective of I'm going to send Craig things that have to do like with my morbid perspective, apparently, of death in the final chapter and the ending of everything, and assign some kind of death-related stuff, maybe. But and you,
I just took it's a finale episode, which I interpreted as last.
Yeah,
and I just literally interpreted that as things that are lasts
and have last
or
in the
say
title.
Last, or even less intelligently, just have the word last.
You
in the
just punched
title.
last into Google, and
I was like, oh,
whatever completed the.
I don't hate that at all. Yeah.
So on that topic, I assigned to Craig the last Gram Parsons album he ever recorded, and before his death in 1973,
Grievous
Angel, and you know, just a huge part of my life, Gram Parsons, and we'll get into all of why I love it, but it's just a good, weird final album for a dude to put out, too. And his whole story, too, if we have time, we'll go into. But, and then in the movie aspect, I did kind of steer away, because I was like, okay, maybe I'm taking the death thing a little too far, so I assigned The Final Countdown, the classic film from 1980.
You've all seen it.
Yeah, I don't even have to introduce it, you know. An aircraft carrier goes back in time to day before Pearl Harbor.
We've all thought about it.
We've all been there.
Yeah. We've all thought, man, if I go back to the day before Pearl Harbor.
But, and then for your last titled ones you assigned to me.
I assigned The Last Boy Scout, starring a Wayans brother and a Bruce Willis. A classic 90s film.
The best Willis.
The best Willis of Willis's. Yeah. I mean, well, Willis from the Different Strokes.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
He was good. And I assigned Last Splash by the Breeders.
Ooh.
An album.
1993.
1990. And it's a... Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But, and I assigned what I would call probably the last mixed drink.
Mm-hmm. That I will ever ask you to make me?
You'll ever allow me to make you, because I don't make good mixed drinks. And as far as I know, I invented it. In retrospect, it's not much of an invention.
So it is an original?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure it's just a thing already.
Yeah.
But,
and I'm already about halfway through, maybe.
Yeah.
It's going down, but that doesn't say much for me. I'll drink it.
That's right. Just, if it's got alcohol in it, you put a battery in some water, and I drink it.
I'll at least make it through the first one. So yeah, I'll kind of sip on this as we chat, and I'll have a full review ready by the end.
Nice.
And I assigned to you, I took the morbid angle again and said, Craig, we used to always play this game where you'd wonder what people were eating for dinner and such. Like,
Yes.
and you'd call your parents and be like,
what are your mom and dad eating?
Yeah, it's good. And I always have a lot of good casual talk of like, what are you having for dinner tonight when we work together and such. And it was always a good thing.
I do
to
love
ponder.
food.
He's a foodie.
Yeah, a foodie in that I just love all of it. Yeah.
So I thought I'd throw the ball in your court and put the scenario up if you were going to be executed for
tomorrow.
A horrible crime that you did or did not do. You can decide. What would be your final meal? Because that's the big perk of getting executed is you do get to pick any final meal.
Yes, and
kind of makes it worth it.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's actually my favorite of all 6 topics. That's my favorite one.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
well, we'll save that for the end, listeners. So stay tuned. And we figured
there's some food talk.
Some food talk for once.
Maybe we'll throw out a recipe or two.
Yeah, and we'll cap it all off with some predictions for season 2.
Yes.
Or insight. We'll see. But we need to get this ball rolling, man.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
We've been talking for a good while and we haven't started, so yeah.
So we'll kick it off with the movies. Final countdown, since we know that's everybody's favorite of the list that we just gave you.
Yes.
1980, it's All-Star Cast.
It's got a Kirk Douglas.
Yeah.
It's got...
James Florentino.
Yes. And Charles Durning.
Yeah.
Durning or Dunning?
I wrote Dunning, but it could be Dunning. I call him Doc Hopper.
I think he is in the movie Jesus shitballs. That was
a weird movie.
That was nice. Dune. He's in Dune with Kyle MacLachlan and Sting. Yeah. He's real
been
gross
stuff
looking.
out of all of them except Kirk Douglas
and
Martin Sheen. he has been in a lot that you'd recognize him for. Oh Brother was the other big one that I knew from. Doc Hopper, man, the Muppet movie. He's the one.
Yes.
Frog legs,
Doc Hopper.
Doc Hopper. I'm not much of a. He's like, I sure am a good businessman, but I ain't much of a performer.
No, he's kind of a gross looking dude.
Yeah,
I bet he had weird nipples.
Probably like
fried
nipples,
fried crunchy worm nipples,
frog leg nipples.
Just
I should just call this episode "Frog Leg Nipples."
Frog leg nipples.
But it'd ruin the whole thing.
He sort of looks. He's Boss Hoggish, but in a classier way.
Always, like the big plantation owner. I'm sure he played like a billion, like
a Southern whatever.
Shit.
Here's the thing that always happens: if they're at least in the like 70s, 80s, into the 90s, if you were a Southern character in a TV show or movie, the way you knew that person was Southern was that they had a shitty Southern accent that didn't sound like a Southern accent. They wore all white for no good reason, and they would take a handkerchief out of a pocketbook or a pocket and they're constantly fucking dabbing themselves.
Sweaty.
They're like, oh, it's so hot.
I just need this frog to be my spokesman.
Hello, Mr. Kermit T. Frog. I gotta dab my forehead because
is that what he did in Dune too? He just wearing
I'm sure he just walk around dabbing
black
himself.
Leather suit in the
He's
desert.
talking about the fucking spice.
I'll tell you about that spices. Ooh, it's good curl spices.
Woo. I declare
these spices are. What is that? How many ingredients? What's the KFC? 557,
83 spices. Yeah, something like that.
Spices. Yeah, there should be some crossover with that.
So Charles Durning Dunning, is sort of the Colonel Sanders of movies.
Of the movie, yeah. And Final Countdown.
Yes,
but the list
which is the thing we're talking about.
Catherine Ross, Mrs. Robinson herself, is in the film.
She is.
Martin Sheen, a personal hero of mine, in his younger days, very suave in this movie.
Is he a personal hero?
Nah, I just made that up. But nah, yeah.
He's mentioned in the Goonies, so I have a fond.
Is there a Martin Sheen?
Yeah, they find the wishing well, and there's a bunch of coins and stuff. And Ralph Mouth, not Ralph Mouth. That's from fucking Happy Days.
Fozzie the bear.
Mouth. He's pulling the coins out. He's like, President, whoever president. He's like. Martin Sheen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Steph is like,
that's a good line.
That's President Kennedy, you idiot. He's like, we played Kennedy once. Yeah. They're connected in my mind because of the Goonies.
That's all you need.
Thank you, Corey Feldman, who came to Asheville
One of many
recently.
great, still here. So he's sleeping in your basement.
Never left.
Ron O'Neal, a very minor part in this movie. He was the one of the officers. And I was like, I recognize this dude.
Ron O'Neal or Ryan O'Neal?
Ryan O'Neal is an actual real actor, but Ron O'Neal is this guy. He did a ton of TV work. I couldn't figure out where I recognized him from. And then I was like, Red Dawn. That's it. He was like I think he played like the Cuban at the end. It's like hunting him down and like somewhere in Red Dawn and like. Yeah, and he actually has, you might have noted this on Final Countdown, maybe the worst acted scene in the entire movie, where, this dude just freaks out, when they're like, what's going on? We can't just rearrange time. I guess the quick premise of the movie, we have to say.
Oh, we should.
Aircraft carrier.
Spoiler.
USS Nimitz goes through a weird time warp, nice clear day. They're just out doing their patrols or whatever.
All of a sudden, whoosh, 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 whoosh.
It goes back in time.
Every time we adjust course, it follows us, Captain.
Yeah, so the storm sucks them in. It's a time warp. They go back to December 641, which happens to be the day before Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, which you all knew.
Which you should know that date. But, it's a pretty weird movie. Would you count this as a sci-fi or a war movie?
I would say sci-fi.
Yeah. I don't feel like it was ever categorized as a sci-fi in VHS at the video store when I was a kid.
That's because the people shelving those things had not watched it and enjoyed its particular
maybe
pleasures.
It was so old that it was always in the new release when I grabbed it. Hot on the shelf. It's like, and to go full circle back to our very first episode of having Eagles landed, The Eagle Has Landed is my choice of a childhood favorite fake war movie. This kind of fits with it because it was like this movie. It's like technically has all like the idiot kid charm of a war movie because we'd just be like, it's like a cool war movie, but they're not really.
And they did get full access to the actual USS Nimitz. So there's like a lot of actual Navy personnel.
So maybe I was slightly wrong. I was kind of wondering that watching. It's like because the film and the actual movie was so shitty, it looks like 80s stock footage. But maybe they were just filming actual on set.
It is a very it is just a jarring cut to footage of whatever taken off.
Yeah,
an AWAC or an F-14 or whatever it is,
and just tons of 14, 16, 18, what are you talking about on the deck?
Ding dong, ling,
just so much Navy lingo, everything is Kirk Douglas is just killing it as captain or whatever.
Sitting in his big chair.
He is, so he's doing his thing. We got Ryan O'Neal. So the premise is they go back in time, they come across this, the Japanese strafe this boat with a politician.
Played by Charles Dunning.
Who was supposed to die in that run before Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
But he's going to go on to be possibly the next
could
VP.
Be the VP. But yes.
So complicated. So the bottom line of the film plot wise is that do you mess with history? You got this kick ass aircraft carrier.
We can't let America be attacked. We're an American warship.
Yeah. They're going to do it too. They're going to stop Pearl Harbor from being attacked and
We will defend these shores. That is our mandate through time, across oceans.
I love, they just like, they have like that great like philosophy 101 class. Like they're all sitting around. That's, I think, when that badly acted scene by Mr. Ron O'Neill is, where it's just like, you can't mess with the order of time. And Martin Sheen's like, what if I go back in time and fight my grandfather and kill him? Then I'll never be born.
And then
we want that on our hands.
Then I impregnate.
Then I won't have sex with every lucky lady in the world.
That's right, because
It's like, whoa, what are we talking about?
Hey.
But, so yeah, I mean, obviously, wow, that is deep thought.
Yeah, you're like, man, what if?
If only.
We're already in what if. I mean, the whole thing, you go into the movie assuming what if.
What if, yeah. So then they all come to terms with it. But what did you think? Did you watch it a lot as a kid? Sorry, I'm rambling on with the plot, but it's so complicated.
It is. It is a complex. It was one of those shows that would come on, like, I think pretty regularly in the summers, like TBS or TNT.
Sunday matinee film, ABC.
The Final Countdown. And, of course, everybody knows the song, The Final Countdown, which is not in the movie.
Featured in it.
Yeah, not in the movie at all.
Which would have been kick-ass during the time warp scene.
Hell yeah!
When the time warp scene kicks in, it turns into, like, Disney's The Black Hole, There's, like, some bad special effects, but it's so bad it's almost cool. Cause
I was, like, one of my favorite parts of the movie is, like, it's like the silhouette of the ship from the bow, and then it just has like this swirl around it, and you're like, yeah, and they're just like,
it would have been like actually way more subtle and cool in the confusing factor if they just were like, woo, 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 and then it was done, and then they're like, they're like, well, what the hell is that? The fact
which
that
is probably how time travel really would.
Yeah, because then it would be like, well, we can't just attack these Japanese ships because. We went through a weird storm, but...
Like, some idiot's flying a zero out here.
Yeah, exactly. They would think it's just part of an air show or something. But the fact that they're even questioning, I mean, it seems like the whole thing would be easier to swallow being in their situation because we went through a storm that made us all drop to our knees and cover our ears and bleed out of our eyes for a second. Yeah, everyone's like, they fall to the ground, and then they're like, that was a weird storm. They're like, well, no way did we go through anything supernatural.
I guess we're fine.
That kind of thing happens all the time in the 80s. So, I don't know. Would you, if you were the captain on the boat that went back to Pearl Harbor, what would have been your ethical dilemma? Would you stop Pearl Harbor from happening?
I think the ethical dilemma is that if you're intelligent at all...
Would have stopped the whole baby boom if you stopped...
I mean, I didn't think of
that. The baby boomers.
But if you change the course of history by stopping the Japanese invasion, if you assume that at the very least delays our entry into World War II, that could change the outcome in some way of World War II, thus not resulting in the future that you come from. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
But...
Clearly.
From the standpoint of a military officer, I mean, your charge is to protect the United States. So your job, is to, there is no question. Of course you stop the attack on Pearl Harbor.
You take a few of them out, so it's not as bad. If one Japanese airplane shoots at something at Pearl Harbor, it has the same effect. So if just one dude kills one dude in Pearl Harbor, we'd be like, screw them, we're going to war.
Yeah.
So that's the angle.
And ultimately, so often, there are still conspiracy theorists who will say that
it was planned.
They knew that the Japanese were coming and let it happen anyway.
Yeah, maybe not even so much planned, but just
an excuse to enter the war. Yeah. So if that's the case, you probably would have found some way to enter the war, or if the war did sort of engulf the planet in the way that it did, you eventually would find yourself in it anyway. But there is a big difference between entering the war after December 7th, 1941, and coming in at the very tail end like we did in World War One.
Right.
So, how does that change the world? And what happens then to your ship, the Nimitz?
Yeah.
There is
and that dog. That dog we got to take care of.
Yeah, there's a golden. Is the dog still alive in the future?
Yeah, because they keep it, and then he brings it.
And he brings it to the thing. But the dog
couple.
would be like 1 million at that point in dog.
But the
years.
dog didn't age because it stayed with him on the aircraft carrier.
Oh.
Only the people, because then. Yeah, there's the weird wrinkle of the lady that they pick up from the past.
Yes.
And what's his nut, Owens, James Fiorentino. I still don't get why they latched onto each other so quickly. He's like all over her. As soon as they pick her up, he's all like giving her massages.
Perhaps we should just do all of this.
It is like Mrs. Robinson, but I mean, it seemed like he thought he was being way smoother than he was. But it was
She's like, come on.
Because, yeah, then they go back, I guess, and stay. So they fly them out of there before they fight. Yeah, so they stay. But then the big twist at the end is when the aircraft carrier finally gets back to real time, because the time warp conveniently comes back right before they fight. And
they're like, recall those planes!
Yeah, we got to get out of here. Now's our chance.
I find it to be a fun sort of sci-fi romp.
Yeah, it is like a good cuts the difference. But you get all the war silliness of a war movie that you're like, yeah, but then like it is a good sci-fi movie too.
And there's just enough of sort of that what is time travel, what is time, how malleable is it, where you can kind of be like, man, what if they had just stayed? Yeah. What if they had just attacked? What if they had this? What if that? Yeah, so that part's good. I think it's a good movie. Yeah. I think it holds up. Like, I hadn't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised too. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is gonna be horrible, and like, it was fun. Again, I don't know if it was the nostalgia factor or what, but it was. And just again, like, I feel like it's like such a kind of a weird, almost dumb idea that they would never make a movie like this. For how many dumb, just straight up dumb movies they make nowadays, they should make something like that where it was just like, whoa, but at the same time not, like, I don't know how deep they thought it was at the time, like this is, but at the same time
I appreciate the sort of almost of it, like they go back in time, they have this opportunity, they witness history, you see it through their eyes, and they make the decision, they're like, okay, it's the right thing to do, we need to stop this attack on Pearl Harbor. And whatever happens. Like, that in and of itself is interesting. And then
stopped by the storm.
Yes, and then it doesn't actually happen. But they've raised all the same questions, and you have all the same sort of like thought. This follows this.
Do you think the storm came back because they were about to interfere with time? Because they never get into why.
See, I like that part of it where it's just like that is almost, it's just an excuse. Like it just happens and you're back in the past, and then we decide what we're going to do, and it happens and you're back in the past. I like that it's sort of a force of nature that is not understandable or predictable. And I like the sort of aspect, like, if you read enough sci-fi or comics and stuff, of course you bump into time travel, and you eventually, like, there always comes this sort of conundrum, like, what happens if you go back and change your past? So you go back and you kill your grandfather. Does that mean you weren't born? Well, then how could you go back and kill your grandfather because you weren't born? So there's this paradox. So does time then split itself so that there is a timeline in which that you started out in where you were your grandfather's child, and then you kill your grandfather, and that paradox causes you to split off and you do something else in a separate a parallel timeline? Or is it that time will protect itself? And it becomes sort of that idea, or sort of the conversation of, are things preordained, or do we actually have choice?
Fate and destiny.
Yeah, fate and destiny. So, which is it?
Which is stronger, man or time?
And this movie, like, the Final Countdown does sort of, like, it definitely does not get philosophical or like deep, but it, like, touches on that just in such a way where, like, you can kind of dream about, oh man, if they had stopped World War II, or if they had stopped Pearl Harbor attack, and if you had a nuclear warship in World War II with jets, and what would that mean, and all of that. but then they don't bother to show you that because that's not what the story's about. So it's cool. You get like kind of both sides of it.
Yeah.
And that I think it makes it fun and interesting and good. And it's got Kirk Douglas in it. He's like 100 years old. I think he's literally.
And that was in 1980s, and now he's like 200 years old.
Exactly.
Like I said, I think he's other than Martin Sheen and maybe Catherine Ross, the only one in that lineup that's still alive. So pretty impressive. You can't stop a Douglas.
No.
So yeah, I recommend it. Kids, go check it out. We found it for free on Dailymotion. That website had a link. You can watch pretty high quality as far as that movie goes. Watchable quality.
I think it's also available on Hulu or Amazon Prime or both.
So yeah, maybe we'll start plugging where we find these things too. We'll stick it. It's a sponsor.
Perhaps someone will be like, "Hey guys!"
But go check it out if you haven't seen it, especially a younger person. I think would get a kick out of what's
It's a fun movie,
on.
and you will definitely get an idea of what movies were like in the 80s.
Yeah,
especially visually is
the
not
time warp scene.
Yeah.
So let's move on to The Last Boy Scout.
The last with Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans.
Clearly, a movie that was dear to your heart as a young man in 1981 or 91. So
91, yeah. So I graduated high school in 92. It was the height of VHS.
Yeah.
And I think I found this movie on VHS probably a
junior
year
year?
later. I was probably a senior and sowing my wild oats, watching VHS and just
Willis
drinking
action.
and just doing sex
everywhere
and just sportsering and
wizardry.
watching Free Jack,
and
with Big Jagger and The Last Boy Scout. Yeah. So
I was a little surprised this was 91. That's pretty early, a little earlier than I thought.
So the story, the plot, if you will, picture contemporary or near future 90s. Football has become such a commercialized sport that a murder happens on the field.
What? Opening scene.
Yes. And
I think that's where I stopped watching it originally.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
This is not great. And a down on his luck detective hooks up with a former NFL quarterback to solve the mystery.
The big mystery.
The big mystery of the sports.
Why he's not in the game anymore, and why Bruce Willis's wife is cheating on him.
Yes, and why are your mama so jokes so funny?
But there's a lot of them in this.
There are a lot of them.
As he's on his knees about to get executed.
He uses your mama so jokes to survive.
So fat. So this is post Hudson Hawk, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a lot of probably dumb your mama jokes in that too.
Yeah. Have I ever told you that?
He's still trying to cash in on the charm of post Hudson Hawk.
Yes, and he's also like, hey, I was in mood lighting.
Yeah,
I'm good. Yeah.
So.
I once woke myself up from what I think was a sound sleep because my brain invented a your mama so joke. I woke up laughing because I invented the following joke in my sleep. Your mama so fat, she doesn't wear underwear. She wears everywhere.
Oh,
what? Yeah, I invented that with my brain.
That will probably save your life someday if someone's about to
execute
if
someone wants
you.
To kill me. Yeah, Bruce Willis gets out of being summarily executed by a thug
like,
by telling him your mama so jokes to make him laugh.
Yeah, he starts laughing so hard he just turns around and like punches the gun out of his hand and shoots him
and I mean,
strange movie. Yeah, so
it works.
Weird. It's so much like straight up action movie. If there's ever just an action movie, this is and directed by Tony Scott.
Who's
brother
great.
Of Ridley Scott.
Yes.
Director of Top Gun, going back to the F-14 Tomcat. Fairly recently, a few years back, died. I looked up suicide, too. Like, they thought maybe he got diagnosed with some cancer, jumped off a bridge. Yeah, he's dead. And, like, he had directed like a lot of like almost blockbusters. Like, I mean, Top Gun was a huge movie, but like Crimson Tide and True Romance, which is a personal favorite. I love that movie. But yeah, it was like all these just giant. If you just look at all his movies, there's all of them, but like none of them were like they're all kind of like Last Boy Scout. But they're all like, movies where probably made like heaps of money and weren't that good. But like, and he has like a distinct style for sure. It's like every like I didn't realize it until I started looking it up and finding the common thread. But it's like tons of like just light through blinds all the time, light shining through and everything, and like. It's very like, oh yeah, that's like all his movies when you see them all listed out. They're very.
Did he really jump off a bridge?
Yeah, I think so.
That's so stereotypical.
Yeah, it was a real big bridge too. So it's like
wow.
Yeah, so that's like weird, but so yeah, which is kind of sad because they're talking about Top Gun 2 or something, so he won't be doing that apparently.
No.
Yeah, they. I don't know. It was a very convoluted plot. Halle Berry was like, maybe it must have been one of her first movies because she gets like, spoiler alert, blasted pretty early in the movie.
She does not make it.
Down.
Who would have guessed that in the 15 years following she would be the biggest star?
I was like, well, this movie's terrible. At least Halle Berry's in it, and I'm like, oh
no, not in it.
Yeah, and it's funny too because I kept reading all these things about how the script writer Shane Black and he wrote Lethal Weapon, the first one, apparently, which was good. Script.
He was in Predator.
Oh yeah, was he?
He directed Iron Man 3.
Oh wow,
and he
still in the game then. Huh?
Yeah, and he is right. He wrote and is directing or has directed the newest. There's a new Predator movie coming out called
Predator 4?
The 5? Predator or Predators or something. Yeah.
Predator versus Predator?
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's still
branching out and doing some...
He's really branching out. He's got like The Notebook 2. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to sound harsh on the guy, but I loved like the first Lethal Weapon, and I wouldn't say the script was the best part of it.
No,
but it was good. But apparently this one, the script for Last Boy Scout, like, got in this huge, like, bidding war, and it broke some, like, record for, like, the first, like, spec script from, like, a non-person that got, like, heaps of money, which is, when you listen to, like, watch the movie, it's horrible. It was just, like, everything's just, like, dumb, almost on par with Arnold joke kind of things, or everything's just, like...
Oh, for sure.
It's like, hey, you better get that pizza before I blast your face, and, just like, doop-a-doo. Like, nobody talks like this.
No!
Like, everybody just thinks they're so cool in the whole movie, But in his defense, apparently there's all this talk of how the movie changed like so much. Like,
really?
Yeah, like the script, and then they just changed a bunch of stuff throughout it. It's hard to believe it went from some like super deep thing, but I think even like Bruce Willis's character was supposed to be like Jack Nicholson initially, like with the idea of like writing it, or it'd be like a more thought out like PI kind of dude that was like getting thrown into this like elaborate cop scam kind of thing. I don't know, but it like apparently was supposed to be a little
sort
more
of what they want to achieve.
Yeah. And it got pretty action movie dumbed down, I think. And but yeah, there's a lot of like great scenes though. Like that's what I was telling Craig here. I got like annihilated drunk watching it. Like, I like to say it was kind of on purpose, but I was like already pretty drunk. I was like, well, if there's ever a time to just sit down and watch this thing now, I guess this is the time. So I just kept it going. I was kind of researching it while watching it.
We may watch it again after recording
this. It was weird because I went to like this like roller coaster of emotions. I was like, this is terrible. I can't even believe you assigned this crap to me. And I'm like, this is hilarious. This is like so funny when we've got a good beer buzz going. I'm like, this is so funny and hilarious in a bad way, and then I'd go back and forth, and by the end I'm like, so why is all this happening? But that might have been the beers at the bar.
That's the like my takeaway. Like, full disclosure, I assigned it to you with the intention of rewatching and having like I know it, but I haven't watched it in a long time, and I just did not get to it. I was more concerned about your assignments for me, and yeah, like my take, I just
because it has so many like just weird like action movie things. Like I remember I jotted down the scene of like where they get cornered by the bad guys, and he like finds C4 somewhere, and they know it's in the trunk.
Who wouldn't have it?
Yeah, it's like to get away from the bad guys. He like lights, or no, he like jumps away from a truck down a hill when they shoot at him, and it blows up the seafloor. It's just like one of these things is just
what?
like it's so awkwardly shot and written. You're just like, huh?
And the dude, like, there's a guy who plays like the NFL team owner.
Yeah, he's almost a very Doc Hopper kind of dude.
His name's like Shelly or something.
Shelly Cowboy or something.
He's like, he like blasts like Damon Wayans in the hands, like, you couldn't take the pain.
Yeah.
The pain was too much for you. You could have been great. Yeah. It's like there's supposed to be some sort of like, I feel like there's supposed to be some sort of message in it.
Yeah.
But like everything in the 90s, there really isn't.
Yeah.
It's just
Like,
stupid.
people are like, Bruce Willis is so cool. He's just always like, I don't know, nothing bothers me. It's like they just can't phase him, you know, so he's kind of like borrowing from what worked in Die Hard and what didn't work in Hudson Hawk.
Bruce Willis is just the worst.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first movie that really sort of shows you, like, Bruce Willis has spent the last, talking about 2017, spent the last 5 to 10 years just mailing it in.
Yeah.
Just garbage that goes direct at Netflix or whatever. Some shit. And this is like the first thing where it's just like, yeah, I'm fucking probably a detective or maybe a
he
cop,
was just like pieces of all his characters at this point, and this is even like still early enough in his career where he shouldn't be like pulling out the greatest.
He was still married to Demi Moore. I thought he cared then. He had Scout to take care of, and the other ones.
He had hair.
He had hair-ish. Yeah.
It was, and then that was kind of the common thread of everything I read was like just how much everyone on this is like. Although they played buddies in the film, Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis couldn't stand each other, almost to the point where they quit. And then it was like, then they threw in like the producer dude, apparently Joel Silver, who's like this big
everybody loves
Harvey
Joel.
Weinstein type
piece of
crap, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He'll probably sue me for saying that now because he's got so much power. But it sounded like the biggest piece of crap producer, and all these people just hated each other. And like, actually, Tony Scott, somebody cited as saying the director of True Romance. Are you familiar with?
Yes, with
the Michael Rappaport.
Oh my God, he is in it.
Christian Slater, but
yes.
Do you remember the slimeball cokehead director or producer? I guess at the end that they're trying to unload all the coke to.
Yeah,
he's just like the epitome of like slimy Hollywood producer.
Uh-huh.
But apparently the rumor was that Tony Scott like modeled that character on the dude that was the producer of Last Boy Scout because he was such a piece of crap. So it totally fits, and they're like,
he's like, I gotcha.
Yeah, and it just ends in this giant battle. But yeah, good gunfights though, and that's something like you see from True Romance in every movie of his. It's like he really can do like these epic, like 16 people walk into a room and start blasting each other. So it's like once you kind of like just embrace that meathead action movie syndrome, it's like, this is awesome. But like, so it's like, none of this needs to make sense. Like the last shootout with like his daughter there and stuff, and they're all just like rolling around under tables and shooting each other through like windows and stuff. But then the final thing, I was like, on board. They finally reeled me back in. But there's a scene where they're about to assassinate maybe a presidential candidate or
it's
something.
Like
something
that.
It doesn't
matter. He's just a guy.
David Wayans throws a football and hits the bullet of the. It's like, come on, what the fuck is going on? It's like I just watched an hour and 40 minutes of this bullshit.
So awesome. Just to get that, you're like, I just watched this whole fucking movie for that.
Yeah, it was like the ultimate F you to everybody that paid to see that in the theater. I was just like, oh, really? It's like, and then they all just have like the big, with the warm cop towels or blankets on them at the end, and they all recap. Everyone's punching everybody as they're cutting them off.
Like,
there's a weird dance. I don't even remember it because I was so drunk by that point, but like I just wrote, what was with that weird dance? So apparently they all did like a dance at the end, maybe, or something. But I don't know. I'll leave that up to. Oh, and the other fun fact was 102 fucks were dropped in that movie, which might top season 1 of our podcast. But 102 F-bombs. So I don't know who counted that or what. But
wow, who had the time for that?
I don't know.
Holy crap!
Any final thoughts on The Last Boy Scout?
It's just.
What does the title have to do with it? What are they talking about?
I think it is just about like the last sort of innocent, like
nothing innocent in that
Hudson Hawk. Yeah, Bruce Willis's character is just like the last sort of holdout of.
Oh, because he was a good
honesty and sure he was like
the security for the Secret Service,
right? Like so, he's like the ashamed sort of
just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's there because he's the last guy who really has the moral compass. Yeah.
That's all him.
And he really is.
Yeah.
I mean, actual Bruce
He's
Willis.
the moral compass.
Yeah.
For the sake of moving on, I'll agree. Cool. Well, shifting gears to music, we have your other selection for me, Last Splash.
The Last Splash by the Breeders, 1993.
Which was a little earlier than I thought, maybe, in hindsight, but seems...
Yeah, I remember I started college in 92, and I remember really loving it around that time, so that sounds about right.
Cool. Yeah, it's a 90s staple, man. I definitely picked it up right at that time. We're familiar with the Pixies in the moment and stuff, so I knew that she was going to do some cool stuff, and huge gateway into that, I think, for a lot of people was the video. Was that a huge, Cannonball was just like...
riding around in the car.
Yeah, that's a fucking great video. Spike Jonze did so many good ones, and that was one of his gems, and that was so good, and the song was just so good. Like, almost to the point where the rest of the album, Divine Hammer's great, but like, you kind of just like, all the deep cuts, I'm like, yeah, this is great, and they're all cool too, but you just kind of keep wanting to listen to Cannonball. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's a great album. I was pretty familiar with it. I hadn't listened to it like in its entirety in a long time.
I had not either before
so it was kind of fun to just try to really focus on the deep cuts, and just like a second ago when I was driving over here again, I was like, this is really produced well for like a 90s rock album too. Like there was just a lot of cool like production stuff on there, and I was like, I forgot to even look up who produced it, and just did that while we got another Pixie Anderson. So I'm going on my second one. We'll see.
So if we're not throwing up.
It's good. Kim Deal actually produced it. So
no.
She did it herself. Wow. Not all by herself. Mark Freegard.
Mark Ruffalo
said, I'll give it a shot.
I'm 12, but I would be glad to produce your album.
But Mark Freegard, who didn't even have a link on Wikipedia, which I don't know if it's a dig or not, but seems like a lot of people have links.
I think that's the man trying to keep Mark Freegard down.
Yes, I don't know if he was really the secret ingredient so much, or just the person to watch over Kim Deal and make sure she didn't do anything.
Too much heroin.
Got all this heroin stuck in the console. But she did a great job there. There's some cool shit there.
Man. Yeah, and it's like overall the whole album is listenable as an album, as a thing. Even the sort of like deep cuts that are not nearly as well known or popular, like it's sort of story like. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's like even some of them aren't even that memorable, but while you're listening to them, they're really good, and they all fit really well together, and just like
as really a thing unto itself, it works.
Yeah, which is pretty cool that you can have like this huge, I guess 4 singles, but the 2 main ones being Cannonball and One Divine Hammer, or just Divine Hammer, I guess it's called. But
One Divine
that's a great song too. But the Cannonball's great too, in the sense of like what a cool pop song that is. And to me, like being a lyric dude, it's funny because I love great examples, and Pixies actually fall into that a lot for me because a lot of their lyrics are kind of like, what? And that even Cannonball, it's like literally, I mean, even though the lyrics are cool and everything fits and it's really cool, it's like you could pretty much say anything over that. The song is just so cool, and the melodies are so cool, and like that bass line's just so simple but cool. It's like and like everything just like the little like chicka chicka chickas with the guitar and stuff. It's like it's just a perfect example to me of like how it works sometimes where you don't need good lyrics and you can still have like this amazing classic song, you know, or it's just I mean that in a super positive way because there's so many songs that are, you know, like a Bush song, it's just like stupid lyrics and like what are you talking about, and the music isn't quite good enough to carry it, you know, or everything just kind of sticks out a little bit, you know, just like what, but like this is like so good that you're like in the shade, man. Yeah, that's like a good line. It's like, is it? I don't know, but the song
works.
It doesn't matter. You could be saying anything over that, and it would be like fucking great because that song's just like the melodies are so good. Every little piece like fits together. I think a lot of it is the production. That's why I was pretty surprised. I was like, oh, cool, good job, way to go, Kim.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. I guess it's like their first official album. They had like an EP before that, the Safari one. And
yeah, it's not
cool.
bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I think they've had maybe 2 since, like one almost recently, which I want to say recent is in like probably like 2010. Like that, like kind of a comeback one, I think. And yeah, I have them somewhere, but
I think
they never
one
really
of the Deal sisters and maybe the drummer. Mm-hmm. And so he did something as a group called the Amps.
Yeah, I think that was Kim Deal's other one. And then who was the sister? I should have jotted her name down.
Kim and Kelly Deal.
Kelly,
yeah.
Our buddy Ryan, who was just on a recent episode. Remember he played a show?
The comedian. Yeah.
Opened up for, I forget what the project was called. Was it just Kelly Deal?
I think it was. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a cool show. He got to open for her. That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
And then Emily, I believe they did it as lassos.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know, you know, women who are music fans who are like, I just don't like it when women are the front person or whatever. And like, it's always just sort of mystifying to me. But
yeah, that's weird. Yeah, it's funny how some people just have like gender preferences, which is always side category, but like just of like what you like to hear. Like, yeah, no, a lot of people just don't really like that many like female vocalists. And it's funny as like a whole like of hearing bands, like all my like top 5 maybe of like all time heroes and stuff are male vocalists. But if I'm to hear just anybody, I'd like 9 out of 10 times will like it more if it's a female vocalist.
Yeah,
it's just weird. I like it like the other way, but I don't really like love them a lot. But at the same time, I don't know. Like hearing a dude sing, like I just throw like a lot of like if they just have like those slightly it's like some weird voice and it's still some of that goes for female vocals, but like just a good female vocal, it's like a lot less annoying a lot of times to me, you know, and a lot of it is I just don't want to be annoyed by a vocalist, which is, you know, a lot to be said, which is tough because sometimes like people whose voices are weird or unusual seem annoying at first, but then they warm up to you and become your
Tom
favorite.
Waits made a whole career out of it.
Yeah, and usually they become your favorites. You know, somebody like Lou Reed at first you're just like, what is wrong with this guy? But it's like, then you realize how cool their voice is. Even like Morrissey and The Cure and stuff. Like a lot of people on first listening kind of like, what are they singing? What do they sound like dying or something? You know, but like that like really stands out. But yeah, just on like a first like perspective of somebody like seeing like a local band or something too, I'm like way more likely to like it if it's a. And Kim Deal just has an amazing, cool voice.
Yeah.
And I think it's like a great, like what you would expect plus a million, basically, of a spin-off group in a sense of like knowing, because she had so many cool songs with the Pixies and just knowing how like pivotal she was in that and like so cool in the Pixies, but then having it be like her thing now, it's like everyone's always like, oh, let's see what happens, but this is like best case scenario, really. So.
Yeah, and in 93, or I would have guessed like 94 or 95, but I guess 93 when it came out, or and I was aware of it, like, I already knew the Pixies, and it was just so fucking cool that there was just more of that to kind of latch on to, and it sort of followed from the Pixies, but was not just a copy of, you know, it wasn't Frank Black, and it you know,
right,
yeah, it was,
because it is like the easy, and like if you're told that she would do like a solo or another project, you'd be like, oh man, a whole album of Gigantic would be amazing, and that's pretty much it, you know. And it's like, and she nailed it. So in that regards, it's like fucking home run, really. You know?
It's fantastic.
So yeah, it's fucking cool. Saints and No Aloha were the other singles, which are cool songs. Yeah, that one's cool.
Aloha.
My favorite, though, that I thought should be a single, Driving on 9. That's an awesome song. It's like a little country number.
It's sort of
country.
Yeah, it's
like,
good.
Which, yeah, it's funny because it would, I guess, isn't really like a full-on single feel, but like that was the one that always stuck in my head of like the top three being,
It's
Cannonball.
very hummable.
Yeah, it would just get stuck in your head for days. And at that age, too, which segues into our next album, if you're ready to move on, in the sense of country music being a... so you were first year of college in 92, 93.
Mm-hmm.
I was going out of freshman in high school, sophomore in high school. So I'm in full-on Cure mode, like just a whatever... new wave kid, I guess, was what I was trying to get. Like, I guess by 92, I was starting to get into like Lemonheads and stuff too. Like 93 for sure. Getting into some 90s rock, but definitely no country on my radar. Like, and it was like little certain things of like 90s rock or whatever was like. Cause I knew of like Willie and stuff, but I didn't really grow up around a lot of country. I just kind of had like a lot of 70s country stuck in my head and. Certain songs would be like, they're just kind of funny because it's like the stereotype.
I think like you're a little younger than me. What, 78?
3 years, 70, I guess. Yeah, 77.
77.
So, what, 3 years? Right?
Yeah, 4 years. And like in the 70s, there's like this sort of thrust of like Dolly Parton is very popular.
Yeah.
And so her country music is also pop music, and there's a lot of crossover between those two. But then you've got like Kiss and stuff on the sort of other side of it. But like it's
because country music. Once you finally look at it, it's weird because there's so much like classic country that all kind of just stems from like Hank Williams and stuff. Of course, whole dissertations can be done on
and Hank Williams is awesome.
Yeah, but like and then you get into like Johnny
Patsy
Cash,
Cline.
and all the like, but then like. You start getting more into that 70s country stuff, which is weird because then you get into like Kenny Rogers and the more like and just like the whole production kind of changes.
You get like Urban Cowboy comes out.
So, segueing into my selection for Craig was Gram Parsons' final album, Grievous Angel, 73 that came out, and his story goes back further. But he was my first real introduction to any country and like reeled me in to like why country's relevant and. Just as an actual genre and not just a kind of joking doom 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 I'm just an old cowboy kind of shit, And I was like for the first time I was like, oh, that's what this is all about, and which is weird because he's known for being kind of the godfather of alt country and stuff, and he kind of cuts that weird divide of what we were just talking about, where it's old timey country, but then like 70s stuff explodes more after his time, but like. He's the first one I think that really like took country and still did. He called it cosmic country, but a lot of people call it like alt country or country rock. I guess is what he hated. People are even like because he started out with the Byrds. He did an album with the Byrds.
The Byrds are not bad.
Yeah, and they had tons of great stuff. And he did one album with them, Sweetheart of the Rodeo, which was kind of unfortunate because he. Basically paired up with them all, but then he was still under contract, so he wrote all these cool songs, but he couldn't sing any of them. So like Roger McGuinn, who's an amazing singer anyway, like just took the songs, but like the actual album isn't really as cool as it could be because it doesn't have Gram singing a lot of his own songs on it. And that got released later. It would get re-released where you hear Gram's vocals and it's cool. But so he did that, and then he stole like half the band and formed the Flying Burrito Brothers,
which is a great band.
Yeah, which kind of sums up Gram. And I was like, what? The Flying Burrito Brothers? That's us. And he was like grew up in Florida. He's kind of a weird Southern kind of dude. Or he's not like straight up Southern. Even got into Harvard, but only went for like a year and like.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Just good old hippie boy through the late 60s and stuff. And did a couple albums, forget how many, because they've been so many reissued in weird ways through the Flying Burrito Brothers, but eventually went solo. Put out 2 solo albums. The first one, and like the album I gave you to listen to, was what a lot of people probably in the 90s got, where they paired up GP, his first solo album, and Grievous Angel is the second half of it, so that's like the split on the cover there. That horrible picture of the
it's gorgeous.
Actual picture,
it's fantastic.
Which wasn't his doing because the album actually came out after he died in '73. But so yeah, he's kind of the godfather of country rock in the sense that he was the first one. I felt like people go all day on like what made it country rock or alt country or whatever, but I always interpret it more as like country where the lyrics are just like they're kind of story songs, but they don't really make any sense, and probably a lot had to do with the drugs or whatever. But but it's cool because that kind of branches into everything that I love, that the generation that I love that referenced that, and that's how I heard it was through the Lemonheads, and Evan Dando would cover like tons of his songs like acoustic, and I just be like, what the fuck is this song? It's kind of country, but it doesn't really make sense. And Wilco and Ryan Adams and all
that's
those
the first thing I wrote down when listening to it was like, why Gram Parsons? Like, what leads you to this? Because like I have listened to your music and it definitely has sort of country tones or undertones and influence, but it's not Gram Parsons.
Yeah, it's a very distinct style and a very and it has a lot of that 70s country feel and stuff. And I don't know what I think it was. Just if I had just heard these albums, I think eventually it would have seeped in. But I think that was really the gateway drug, was just hearing artists that I already loved, like Evan Dando and like later Wilco and stuff, but I was already into them by that point. But them covering kind of Dylan syndrome, when you hear somebody like do a Dylan cover, it's like, oh wow, that's a great song,
That's
It's
awesome.
just when you don't hear him mumbling through the whole thing, because even a lot of the Gram stuff, it seems kind of cheesy or something on first listen, or I don't know, just like it just.
There are songs that I recognize on the album, but it's not the version that you've heard because somebody else did it or covered it, or
and
whatever.
Even on this one, it's a weird album, especially because it is his last one. I don't know why he was like kind of rushed into doing the second one, or I don't know what the timeline was as far as how fast he had to crank it out, but he was kind of short on actual written material. Mm-hmm. So of those songs on Grievous Angel there, it's a lot of them are covers and weird kind of variations and stuff. So even some of them are, like Love Hurts and stuff, he didn't write that and stuff. That was like another one that's been covered since him. Yeah, and like a lot of his are like kind of the known version, and even Hickory Wind and Cash on the Barrelhead, which are the live ones on there.
Which is my favorite part of the album. Yeah,
fake live too. It's not real.
What?
Yeah, it was a cool story where like, not sure why they did. He loved like the Louvin brothers who did like tons of stuff that he covered. But so Cash on the Barrelhead's one of their jams, and then Hickory Wind was one of his ones he did with the Byrds, but he never got to sing it. So he wanted to do it on this album, but he still like didn't have the rights or whatever. So he couldn't sing it unless it was a live thing. This is all, and so much of Gram's story is kind of folklore, where just all these people told these stories. So some of this might not be, but in one of the books I read was they recorded it for that reason and did like a fake live version where they just went out back and smashed some beer bottles and recorded it. And
that's how it's weird you say, because that's how I was listening to it. It's like you'll hear people like pipe up in the audience and stuff.
Yeah, he's like, thank you. This
but it does not sound genuine. Like at some point somebody's like, hey, country music. And you're like, what?
I think they're all just having a blast. Like, it's cool because you can tell they're all just like totally playing live in the studio and they just do that shit on there. But yeah, it's pretty genius. But and that's like a great version of Hickory Wind. That's one of my favorite ones. It's just such a sweet, sad song. He just has like that. And I think that's kind of the thing too. Like so much with country music, you either have like the really raspy Johnny Cash kind of voice, or these people that just are like really great sing, especially by 70s stuff. And he just like, he kind of gets out like a pitch at times and stuff, and he's just got like that, probably who knows if it's drugs or just a weird take, but he gets a little, warbly at times, and like, but you can hear like the emotion and shit in his voice. And like as a young songwriter, I was just like, oh my god, it sounds like he's about to start crying like halfway through this and shit. And like, and these two albums in particular are really amplified by Emmylou Harris. He like discovered her. And, like, this is like the first thing he ever really did with her, or she ever really did, and like he, her harmonies are just crazy awesome.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
So, but You enjoyed it, or was it?
I did, yeah.
Weird, because I was never really sure what.
I'm not a country music guy.
Yeah.
I generally have sort of like low opinions of country music.
Yeah,
I like Patsy Cline. I like and Hank Williams Sr. I like, and when I've listened to him, but I don't seek it out.
Yeah,
but there's some like Cash on the Barrelhead is really good.
Yeah,
and Ooh Las Vegas. I like that one. Yeah,
so like kind of the shit kicking peppier ones.
Yeah, so I really enjoy that, and I enjoy the just sort of like it really is reminiscent of somehow reminiscent of being a kid who was born in the mid '70s and probably started really being aware and listening and remembering things in the early '80s.
Yeah.
So like that's what me like even like this is not rock and roll and it's not popular music from that time, but there is a quality to it that is very sort of like the Mandrell Sisters or Islands in the Stream or whatever. You're like, that's what music sounded like at that time. And you can see him, like, even if he is a country guy who died too young, you can see the influence he had on people, and you can see how he is influenced by other people who are playing music at the same time. Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, I think he's definitely up there with the Velvets as far as just like even the songs might not be that great, and they definitely didn't get any recognition in their time, but like just the wide span of like how much they influenced so many artists that I love. So it was almost like an indirect kind of thing.
Yeah,
and really makes you dig in and look for the meanings, and a cool thing too. It's funny with the Ooh Las Vegas of like James Burton. Like he was a big Elvis fan, Graham. So he actually was able to track down like Elvis's backing band. So those guys, he's like these classic guitar players and stuff. So they played on this, and like they're the ones that. And even when you listen to like Ooh Las Vegas, it's really has like that. Like kind of early '70s Elvis feel, like the like everything's like everything kind of sounds like the Family Feud theme a little.
It kind of does. I would not have said that, but yes.
That song in particular was always one as a kid. I was just like, I don't get this one at all. Like being a little rock dude or whatever. Just like now I'm like,
that's the one that mostly kind of takes me back to that time.
Yeah,
like I remember
love it now,
being that age and just feel like,
yeah. Yeah, there's a few. I mean, some of these are like I just blend the two albums together so much, but like the song "Return of the Grievous Angels" just fucking
it's a
poetically
song.
awesome. Half of it doesn't really make any sense so much if you really pick out the lyrics, but it's like just so like poetic, like that's like some of his great like lyric stuff. And Brass Buttons was like a weird one because that was when he pulled out from his old stuff. It's like about his mom.
Brass
and
Buttons
just like really sad.
It reminds me of like a really sad like it's Christmas and we can't afford shoes.
It's depressing as shit. And the whole just the line, the sun comes up without her. Like, it just doesn't know she's gone. But that was when the Lemonheads covered on an actual album, so that might have been the distinct song that pulled me in. And $1,000 Wedding was one that Evan always covered too. That's a really good one. And Love Hurts is like the big. Because who was it? Like
somebody.
Nazareth or somebody? One of those bands?
Yeah.
So I forget who it is, but it's some like 70s rock band did like a giant.
They did. It was like really successful. I think. Yeah.
But and then In My Hour of Darkness, which I believe is one he actually wrote. It's a cool, weird, eerie one.
I like that one. I think the second half of that album is my favorite. Because
there's a few dogs on it, like I Can't Dance is stupid, but I like it more than the Genesis I Can't Dance. So that is the all-time worst song ever written. And I say that being a closet Phil Collins fan.
Yeah, it's not good.
Can't dance. So compared to that one, and I was fairly happy recently to find that Graham didn't write that one. So why he chose that song, I have no idea.
Wow.
But apparently, like Graham's wife, I feel like they might have been separated even by the time of its release. She somehow stepped in because he died before this got released and cut Sleepless Nights, which I believe is another cover, but it's a really awesome version he did. And she cut that was supposed to be the title of it, I think, even, and like another track. And and like added some weird shit and changed the cover. She was kind of bitter, jealous about Emmylou and stuff. She thought she was featured too prominently or something.
Whatever.
Yeah, so it was like a lot of petty, weird crap that happened at the end, and I don't know. Did you want to chime the listeners in on their story? Do you think we should do a quick version of how Gram died in the finale?
Yes, it's a weird, like just like post death anyway.
Yeah.
It's real strange.
Did you have any other stories before that or thoughts on the album?
We could go right into it.
So
yeah.
Just because it's a finale theme, Gram's finale is kind of a funny story. I won't try to give you the quick version. You could go on all day and write books about this. And like I said, a lot of Gram stories change like facts here and there, and it was such a cool rock and roll story. If you're not familiar with it, I feel
like the basics of it
are
probably pretty solid, and they're real weird.
So Gram used to love to go out to Joshua Tree Desert and look for UFOs with all his buds, among which Keith Richards a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's a fairly regular thing, and they'd go out to Joshua Tree Inn, which is still there, and awesome place out there in the Mojave Desert, Joshua Tree National Park now, and they would just get annihilated and do all kinds of horrible and wonderful drugs out there, and just many times, I guess, have a great time. And like, I guess after recording and finishing, I don't know if it was mixed yet or what. I think it was pretty much mixed and done. They went out to celebrate, basically, and he went out without Keith or anybody really. Even his tour manager was Phil Kaufman, who previously they'd gone out, and the conversation had come up after a funeral that if any of them die, they want to just be burned out there, because it's such a beautiful area. And I do recommend, if anybody is curious about that area, it is a magical desert, just to go out there and see how cool it is. But they wanted to just have one last drink with the body and burn me, man, out here, like many friends make stupid requests to each other. So anyway, Gram goes out there with a few friends, not Phil Kaufman, but on this fateful night, he does some, I believe it was speedballs, morphine, and heroin.
Whatever. Yeah, something
it doesn't really matter, I guess. Morphine and something.
That was a good idea.
Topped off with 1,000 beers, I'm sure. And ODs, basically. And the graphic story of it, and it was in the biography that's really good by Ben Fong Torres, the old Rolling Stone writer, so it's fairly creditable, I think. But and plug your ears if children are around. But I guess it goes out saying sometimes heroin or any kind of overdose, if you shove a ice cube up your backside, it'll bring you back. And apparently this happened the first time while Gram was in room 8 at Joshua Tree Inn. He OD'd, did a little too much. Whoa! And his girl or somebody who was with him shoved that ice cube up his backside, brought him back. It worked. They're like, whew! That was a close call.
That was close.
Let's go get some chicken, they all say. So everyone goes out to get chicken, and they leave Gram back at the hotel.
No.
So what does Gram do? He says, might as well do some more
I dodged that bullet.
The fucking dude gets high again. This time, no one's around for the ice cube, and he passes away in room 8. His friends come out. It's horrible. So basically, they take him off to the hospital. He doesn't make it. Gram's done, sadly. Not even 27, I think he was. Like 26, real about
young.
To turn 27. So yeah, fucking horrible. Like, just hearing how great this album is and what he had in store still was like really sad. But so anyway, he goes off. His friend Phil, who he made this pact with, was really just, we gotta get the body, man. So I guess a day passes. He somehow tracks it down, because back in the old days you could do this kind of thing. I guess they call the hospital and figure out where the body's going. He realizes Gram has a stepdad. No mom left or anything at this point, and his stepdad wants him body flown back to New Orleans, where
there's
he never even lived.
Reason for that,
for New Orleans, because the stepdad lives in New Orleans, and that's why I think it stung his friend a bit more, because Gram had no connection to New Orleans.
Right.
So it was I don't know, his body getting flown back and buried in some shithole he never went, especially when he clearly said, I want to be burned out here in the desert. I love it out here.
When he was high.
Yeah, it's totally high on speedballs, but whatever.
Fuck it, that's what he wanted.
It's my boy, Graham. So anyway, Phil gets his shit together because he's a tour manager. That's what he does. And so he goes, he figures out when they're going to send the body to the airport, and him and a couple other buddies have this hearse that they use for touring or whatever, and they show up in their fancy suits. They intercept the body at the airport. There's a cop there, and they even like pull in front of the cop. They ask the cop to move his cars. They fake some signatures, and they pull the fucking body into the hearse. Go back out to the desert. They have this like great moment where I was drinking. They're like, "We're doing it, man!" But then they freak out because they see some lights coming, which I think turned out to be nothing. But like they freak out and they start to burn Graham. But being the experts they are, they just kind of split while his body's still burned.
That's how it works. Yeah.
So it burnt up, but it didn't really like incinerate in the epic way that they thought it would. And then it's all over the news. They eventually turned themselves in, but like there was
nothing bad happened.
Yeah, they get a fine, but they didn't actually have any laws at that point of like stealing bodies from airports.
I mean, I guess it's okay. It's just a body.
So, but they like what a good friend, man. That's an awesome way to do it. So anyway, they take the fine or whatever, and they do send what's left of Graham's body back to New Orleans, which is cool because I've been out to Roommate and I've been out to where they burned his body and like paid my respects and everything. But I've also been to New Orleans, and it's great because there's a marker in New Orleans, which is sad. But they took whatever the hell was left out there. So it's kind of funny because he has like 2 graves, really. But if you're a real diehard fan, you can find it's right outside of like New Orleans, the city, right there. Easy to find cemetery, really gross cemetery in New Orleans too, because like all shit, like just with all the water levels in the ground. Like half the shit's like popping out of the ground and stuff. So,
that's atrocious.
Luckily, there wasn't too much of Graham left, but. If you ever go out to Joshua Tree Inn, they're still very pro-Graham. They have his room you can get, and a lot of people get it, myself included, on purpose, and you can stay in Graham's room. Not much of it has stayed the same. Obviously, they redecorated it and stuff, but like the pool and everything's like pretty much the same structure, and it's amazing out there. And you can go out to Joshua Tree. Yeah, and just the park in itself is great, but then you track down, it's at Cap Rock. It's like a fairly well found, like a big epic rock structure there, and that's where it was weird because every time I've been like 4 times, and they always decorate the rocks and stuff, and then I guess because it's a national park they clean it up, but just every time I've been it's always been like fully decked out with just like painted rocks and
that's cool.
Like whiskey bottles all empty shit. People just go out there and get like trashed and hang out in this burning spot, and but the last time I went, it was like totally clear and nothing there. So I was like, kind of sad. I think I just caught it on an off day or something. But so yeah, I mean, do you have a preferred way I should dispose of your body? What do you got, friendship wise?
If I die, I don't have any beliefs that make me think I'm going to need my body.
Yeah.
So I just put me in a trash can.
Just like
maybe if you really want to set it on fire.
Waste management.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Wow. Do you have like any beliefs that make you think, man, like take care of my body, I might need that?
Yeah, it would definitely be just cremated and do something with the ashes. I'd probably just leave up to, I wouldn't even want to burden a friend with taking it somewhere. I just feel like, if Casey and Henson want to throw me in the Key West Ocean or something,
like
that's nice, but
if I die, like, and Shan just really felt like there's got to be a gravestone. There's got to be I don't care because I don't think I'm dead and I don't believe in heaven, so I'm not going to be aware of what you do anyway.
Yeah.
But like I guess if I really could say, I guess I would just kind of be opposed, like just cremate me, or just let me throw me in the woods somewhere. I don't care.
Feed me to some.
Don't bury me in an expensive casket.
Yeah,
don't try to preserve me like a mummy or something weird.
And I think that's why this story was important and cool, because it's because it went away against his wishes. Like, he never got along with his stepdad anyway, and like it was like clearly like a what? That doesn't add up. You know, like when your friends would know you better than somebody that's like pretending to, you know? It's just kind of sad. His final wishes, you know, and it's like, and a friend that just went through all that shit. That's pretty good, man. It's like he was able to like hijack a fucking body from the airport and take it out.
I don't know you could do that these days.
Yeah, that'd be a little
was
tougher.
one of the great parts,
especially at an airport. You'd have to get it at like the morgue before or something. But that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess the quick version of when I was there too. I had an epic tale. The first time I went to Joshua Tree Inn was right after Coachella, 2004, I think.
Right.
And we just
one of the real Coachellas.
Yeah, the good one. Reunited Pixies, going back to the Pixie theme. The Cure was headlining, Radiohead. So many great bands. Flaming Lips, the first time he got in his stupid bubble and rolled out in the crowd.
You love his bubble.
Damn bubble. I normally would have been down, but that bubble was delaying the Cure coming on stage. So I was like, get the fuck out of here, that stupid ass bubble. But, so yeah, a lot of good bands. But we went out after the whole festival and we're just like, well, let's just go chill out in Joshua Tree and Gram Parsons' death room, you know? And KC was like, well, let's meet some people too. There's a lot of cool people staying here. And I was all just being antisocial. I was like, I don't know. And she's like, these two look cool. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, they do. And we're like, all right. So we went up and talked to these two, a couple sitting there by the pool. And dude had a country shirt on. And as soon as I heard their Australian accents, I was like, ooh, being a big Australian music fan. And like, didn't take long. We had like some Tecate, so we started jumping into those, and just like all my favorite bands, like UMI, everything was popping up. Smudge, they like knew who they were. I'm like, yeah, we hang out at these shows all the time, and I'm just like, what? Tell me more. So we're like pounding through all these beers, and eventually, like, the ladies retired for the night, but me and old Sticko were like, this is great. I can't let this night end.
Never gonna let it stop.
And, like, the big, like, myth of this era of Joshua Tree Inn was that the place was haunted from Graham's ghost. There was a cat that would hang around. And there's this dude that Sticko named Crazy Lance, but I feel like his name was just, like, Jerry or something. Like, I later found out. But he was Crazy Lance he was the pool guy, and he was telling all this bullshit before we got totally hammered. He was like,
hey, I'm Crazy Lance.
Yeah, I'm Crazy Lance, and the cat, man, I don't trust that cat. He had like that weird kind of Hunter S. Thompson, Southern California voice thing. He's like, I don't know that cat thing. It's freaky cat, man. We're like, yeah, whatever. And so me and Sticko are just getting trashed, and we're trying to think of a funny way to do like something ghost related, you know? And then I think he threw out the ideas like, we got to rearrange the pool furniture to spell Satan. I'm like, all right.
Didn't make sense to me.
That adds up, you know? So then, like, first thing he grabs is this table with, like, a glass top on it that isn't attached. And he starts pulling it. I'm like, no, don't touch the table. Let's just do the lawn furniture. And he's like, all right. And we do the S. And I'm like, Satan's got a lot of letters.
What did you do? Say.
Let's just do Gram. And we're like, yeah, so let's do Gram. So we pull, like, the cheese lounge over because I can bend and be a G. And then we do the R and the A. And I think it was literally the part of the M or something. It was like we'd finished it, or you just want to do an exclamation mark even. I don't even remember what the last piece was. We'd finished it. And he's like, he went for the table again, pulls the table, and the whole fucking glass top just shatters going into the pool.
No!
It's so loud, and we're just like, oh fuck, we're so busted. Like, light comes on immediately, Crazy Lance comes out, and he's like, oh, you broke the table, huh? I'm like, yeah, we're sorry, we're assholes. Like, tail between the leg immediately. And he's like, you guys are having fun, all right? We're like, yeah, fucking apparently too much. He's like, oh, it's cool, man. He just starts, so we're all picking up shards of glass with our hands and shit. He's like, don't touch it, man. It's cool. And like, I was like, ah, oh, damn. And he just totally swept it all up. We're like, what happened to the glass in the pool?
Like, probably sank to the bottom.
Yeah,
man.
he's like, it's just cool. And then like, me and Sticko were like, well, it's good knowing. I'm like, I'm never going to talk to this amazing person ever again. And when we just shook hands, and that was the end of the night. We went back to our rooms, drunk as shit, with our tails between our legs. And next morning we woke up, they were already gone. We went to check out. I was like, oh, by the way, Casey, we broke a table. She's like, what? I was like, don't say anything. When we were checking out, the people at the hotel were like, sorry if there was some noise last night. There's some people out. I was was like, oh, yeah, I was just like pulling my cowboy hat over my face.
That was really annoying.
It's like, I want my money back. So it was like, let's just get out of here. I wanted to buy a t-shirt even, but we just like bolted so we didn't have to pay for anything. And the fucking dude was just like, yeah, man, it was cool. Everyone's just having fun. And we left, and luckily we got some information that they ended up staying in touch, and we're still good buddies with them. And didn't have to pay for that table, and we had fun. We're still in touch with the Aussies, and they're some of the sweetest people you could ever meet.
When are these Australian people coming back to the Asheville area?
I don't know. They came back fairly recently. They like to go to Austin and see Southern Culture on the Skids, do like a residency there. So we weren't able to catch them this last time they were here, but they travel quite a bit, and we've been out there twice to see them, but that's been a while now. I can't wait till our son's old enough, we're going to go harass them again. But amazing people. So always talk to people in weird situations like that. Don't be a weirdo like me and want to just stay in your cool room. But the spirit of Gram, I think, blessed us all with the chaos and debauchery of that evening. So that was the hopefully quick version of the Gram story.
That was incredible.
But we should move on to our beverage choices, if you're still with us.
Yes.
Let us talk about this Pixie Anderson.
Yes, so I assigned, my last thing for Gavin was I assigned him the first and last, emphasis on last, mixed drink he will probably ever let me make for him. I'm not a big liquor drink guy. And
what is in this thing?
The Pixie Anderson is a shot of gin, of dry gin, a shot of cranberry juice, a shot of tonic water, and a squeeze of lime, which is probably already a drink, I'm sure. But as far as I know, I invented it, and I named it after Pixie Anderson, who is a guy. He lived on the interwebs about 10 years ago. He liked to dress up like Peter Pan. He had a page boy haircut. And, I just thought...
Never met him?
No. I was never that lucky. What am I, famous?
Just like a super fan?
Yeah, I was just a super fan. And I just thought, you know what? This drink's the Pixie Anderson. And... so there was a brief window of opportunity there where I was like, man, I'm going to drink liquor drinks.
Yeah, it's good, man. I'm digging it. I didn't want to tip you off through the process.
Okay,
but
all right.
I'm loving it. Gin, tonic, and lime are pretty much 40% of my bloodstream.
That's right. And they're just a gin and tonic.
That's fucking golden there. And then the cranberry juice on top.
It's good.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that.
It's probably good for your urethra or something.
Yeah, this is a great summer drink, I believe.
Yeah, I think
tend
so,
to drink gin and tonics a lot more in the summer. But yeah, that's one of my own staples, and it's nice to know I could throw a little... I've never had it with
just make yourself a gin and tonic, put a little cranberry juice in it, and that's a Pixie Anderson. I don't think Pixie Anderson is still kind of out there and active.
Yeah, we should find him.
Yeah, Pixie, if you're out there, buddy,
let's have you.
Let us know. Put your tights on, come visit
us. All season 2 is going to be us finding the people that we've referenced. Pixie Anderson, Jeff Butler.
What happened to Jeff Butler?
I don't know. There's bound to be more if I go back and listen to the episodes.
Yes.
But I am on board with this. Will not be the last time I ask you to at least make a Pixie Anderson.
A Pixie Anderson, yes.
On top of that, I don't know. You might just trying to be like getting wacky at this point. You're like, throw a banana in it. Like, whoa.
It's creamy now. And then
Let's
Gavin.
Just stick with what works.
Yeah, Gavin assigned as his sort of third.
Yeah.
Not to just rush along to Pixie Anderson, but I think this is a more interesting question.
The final meal. Execution. I guess the best start way would be if you were convicted, you're going to die. That's a given.
Whether you're guilty or not.
What would you even choose? What do they do nowadays? Do they even do electric chair anymore?
Wasn't it lethal injection, right?
Gas? Do they do that anymore?
I don't know.
What
about just like guillotine?
Do they even execute people anymore? The whole idea is
some
ridiculous.
states do.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm sure they do a lot, but it's just like, oh god.
I thought it was a really interesting question, and I made the mistake of really giving it a lot of thought. And I thought of this, and I thought of that, and I thought of this, and I could not. I really love food, and even more than I love food, I love talking about food. Like I ask people almost on a daily basis what they had for dinner and how their evening was and how dinner was and stuff. So I really, 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 really love food and talking.
Would the manner of execution change what you choose?
No.
Yeah,
but I thought it would.
Yeah.
So like I would just thought about like I'm not like a steak guy. Like I think like a lot of people like I'd have a giant steak and with the stuff and whatever. No, and I just like I thought about all these different things, and then I just as I was making some notes for this episode. I just kind of try to clear my brain and write. And so I wrote down brats, eggs, mashed potatoes,
fried
peas.
Eggs?
Like a fried egg, yeah.
Okay.
So
brats,
I think you make yourself a couple of brats, you make yourself a mashed potatoes, you make a runny fried egg. You kind of cut into that egg. It runs all over everything.
Yeah.
You got peas on the side.
Wow.
Yeah, and that I think is what I would have.
It all together, huh?
Just delicious.
Just one course.
Yes.
See, I would have gone for multiple courses just to drag it out.
Like I don't want to die.
Is that allowed? Probably not.
I think it's. I mean, they're like, look, you still got to eat in 12 minutes. I don't care.
No.
Yeah, you can have 43 courses, but you got to eat fast.
Yes, you're going more of a breakfasty route, maybe.
I guess. I just. Like, as I was writing, I love bratwurst.
Yeah.
I like.
Would you want a bun or just straight up brat?
No, just a bratwurst, a knife and a fork, and a runny yellow egg, and some mashed potatoes and peas. Like, I eat peas at least once or twice a week.
Yeah, I didn't know you're a big pea man.
Yeah, I eat a lot of peas.
Yeah,
and I like mashed potatoes because they're good.
Yeah.
Though, your wife...
She didn't like peas either. I love both those, and I never get to eat
them.
What
the fuck is wrong with Casey? No offense, Casey.
She'll never listen to this.
No, she'll never. But, like, who doesn't eat a mashed potato?
It's so weird. I freak out now. I never get to eat baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, any of that. And peas.
She's an unusual person.
She's a strange bird. That's why I love her. but yeah, that's a good meal, man. It's making me a little hungry.
Yeah, I really like bratwurst a lot.
Yeah, anything special to them? Do you have a special way of...
No, like, I mean, I think I would cook them the way anybody would, where you kind of, like, parboil them in a couple inches of water.
Pour some beer on them?
Pour some beer on them. Yeah, and then kind of let that burn.
He pours beer on everything.
Including himself. Yeah, and then you just kind of, like, brown them in a skillet, but... I distinctly remember the first time I ever had a bratwurst, and I just thought it was so delicious.
Yeah,
I was like, Mom, can I get another one? These are so good. It's just like, I guess. Yeah.
I'd say it's funny you say that, too. It just made me dawn on how much I love brats, and Casey never wants to eat those either. And I'm always like, let's just have brats on that.
Damn it, Casey.
I don't know why. But, yeah, well, damn. That's
what does she like to eat?
I don't know.
Kale.
Yeah, kale.
Kale and garlic.
She likes pasta.
Everybody likes pasta. That's a good one to like. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, well, that's a good meal. They'll send you off in style, I think.
Oh, yeah. Just like so many bratwurst. And it'd be great. Because it wouldn't matter at that point. You just seen somebody you felt sick. It doesn't matter.
Kind of the angle I took where I overanalyzed it. I was like, well, I got to answer it too, even though it was a question for you. I was like, all right. I was like, so many things like just tear up my stomach, but I almost would rather be like enjoy this pain too.
Yeah,
you're about to die. So like so many things, I was just like, oh god, I'm about to crap myself. But wouldn't it be better to die?
Yeah, just
in that moment.
You're gonna shit yourself regardless.
I would never want to just be like, oh, I'm so pleasantly full now. Life is good. It's like I'd rather be so like I went through all these like scenarios. I was like, oh man, just like a delicious like pasta would be great, but then I could eat it because I always feel a little like guilty when I eat. It's like, oh, this will make me so fat eating this much like fettuccine alfredo. It's just like, so why not at that point, But then I was all like,
milk and cheese.
Yeah, and I was like, well, go the full 9 yards with it. I was like, I want the trashiest General Tso's garbage fucking Chinese
giant.
Because it tastes delicious, but it's horrible for you. And
fried.
It just makes me crap so bad. So I was just like, I'm going to leave like a little something for them to remember me by too. Especially if it's an electric chair. I'm just going to blow this whole room out when they hit the switch. It's like, oh my God, what's coming out of this fucking person's.
Was that a geyser?
And I love it. It's garbage food. So a giant plate of General Tso's would be my
wow.
extra trashy.
Wow, I would not have guessed that.
I would like and I don't think they let you drink, but for the sake of this, I would like the most expensive bottle of delicious red wine to watch.
Ooh, man.
And then as an appetizer or sides, I would like Triscuits with squeeze cheese on them. This has just turned into like my rider. Squeeze like that really horrible cheese.
And only blue M&Ms.
Yeah, and jalapeno poppers maybe. They'd be good. Just
holy cow.
I'm blowing this room up. And as dessert, like just 12 delicious assorted donuts. I'm going to eat every one. And
by the time they killed you, you want to die.
I'd already be dead. I'm going to beat you to it. And I think that was as long as I could drag it out.
Wow, man. Well, Casey does make a good jalapeno popper.
Yeah, that'd be good. Like a little pepper cream cheese wrapped in bacon or prosciutto.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's good
Suddenly
food.
dying doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, man, I didn't take the same approach, but I should have.
That's a good solid meal, though. That's good that you just go out with a...
Yeah, I would just go for like 15 bratwurst, a little bit of mashed potatoes, an egg.
Just one egg
and
still.
some peas. Yeah.
We're going over and
just
do eggs.
a million bratwurst, yeah.
Awesome. Damn. I don't know. It's a good way to go out in style. And I guess that's what we're doing here on Season 1.
Yes.
The 10 podcast. Any hopes and dreams for Season 2? What do we got?
Season 2. Oh, my God. Well, I mean,
sky's the limit, really.
I suspect there will be, some superhero episodes. I mean, coming up in 2018, we've got some pretty epic superhero movies.
True.
And, some Star Wars. There'll probably be another Star Wars
we might even do a
episode
bonus episode on Last Jedi, because if you haven't caught on yet, we're pretty big nerds in that department. And that's coming out in like 2 weeks now. So.
Oh my God, it's so close.
By the time this comes out, maybe it'll already been out. So
and then maybe just like
we have a good laundry list of topics. So we got about 8 seasons worth of top. Manos, Hands of Fate.
Oh my God, we could just do like a full-on addiction episode.
Yeah, we got puppet ones and all kinds of weird Manos versions.
So many songs that we could do horrible versions of. And
let's see, more remote ones in town. We always kind of had that idea. But
like a local, like maybe we could eventually catch on if our hashtag Asheville.
I should leave the
hashtag hash.
Yeah, Hashville.
Hashville.
We're just gonna go smoke hash in various parts of Asheville. What happens when Gavin and Craig...
Ryan would like us to go maybe do...
Yeah, we meant to do that for the comedy episode.
Yeah.
I should go out and do some stand. Maybe if we follow him, because he's doing crazy rounds now where he bounces around. He doesn't just hang out at one place. So maybe a night with Ryan, like
that
Cops,
dude
where we just follow a night with Ryan.
Gutsiest.
so the themes might get a little weird in Season 2, but we're
if you don't push the boundaries... People don't want just Season 1 again.
Yeah, I'm down, and we're hoping anyone listening out there, we're open to suggestions. We will probably do a whole episode based on
a suggestion, just
a
suggestion,
one random person,
someone care enough to be like, hey, why don't you do an episode on children's programming?
Yeah, or unicorns.
Yes.
All right, we got good imaginations here. We'll stretch at least 4th. What do you think on the amount of topics? Too much or too little? Should we keep it the same? Should we just maybe keep like just Michael Rappaport?
Ooh.
Or,
I think that like having kind of like 3 things each is good for the average episode. But then if you come up with something like a Rapping on Rappaport, maybe
special edition.
You just
with Ryan.
Then it's just really just one topic with some tendrils.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're doing good by branching it still.
Yes.
Keeping it loose.
Keeping it loose, keeping it light.
That's what we're trying to do, but like I said, feedback.
I mean, I don't want to start doing like hard hitting Trump.
Yeah. The politics of that.
Yeah, like let me tell you what's wrong with Trump. Like we don't need to hear that. Yeah.
Given what we've talked about so far, we're probably not the people.
No.
Anyone would
be like, why would anybody listen to our opinions? They'd be like, they like the final countdown.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a good place to just sign off for now.
I think so. And, if you are out there and you are listening, then, let us know.
Yeah.
Give us an idea for a topic. And
we'll be still keeping the Instagram going. So we'll post some funnier things on there.
A lot of nude pictures.
A lot of scandalous stuff just to
That's
keep
right.
it rolling. But there may be a YouTube merger, too, just to throw that out there. We might steer off of iTunes at some point. I think the first season will stay on there. I'm not really sure how that's going to work, but keep an eye out for YouTube, and we'll start to just throw that out more if it happens. But we might just go on over to YouTube, and then it'll be there for eternity, season 1 and what's to come. So,
what's to come, yes.
But in the meantime, email thepretendpodcast@gmail.com. Go over to Instagram, which is the Pretend Podcast. And our Facebook page in particular, because that's where we kind of keep the home base. And that's the Pretend Podcast on Facebook. And you can find little links to all the things, such as these fine albums we just talked about. The whole movie, Final Countdown, will be there. Not the whole movie, The Last Boy Scout, but maybe just a really cool picture
Maybe
of
some
football.
good Your Mama So jokes.
A link of mama jokes. And maybe the recipe to your drink.
Yes.
Pixie Anderson.
A Pixie Anderson. You should enjoy several.
Yeah, and maybe if we find a cool link of the most famous last meals.
Ooh, man, like Dillinger.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, he probably
I think he's got a gun down the street. So
I'd like a cheeseburger.
Yeah, maybe other people.
Yeah. But I guess until season 2, we'll be in touch. Drop us a line, and maybe in the meantime, too, in the off season, we'll upload some of our movie commentaries.
That's right, a bonus got
a couple of those. Maybe just in time for Christmas, Scrooge might come up.
Ooh, and if you listen to even one episode, thanks.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right, signing off. I meant to write down a quote. Do we got a quote? That quote that I tried to pull from Final Countdown will not work. A signing off quote was, your mama, cannonball, Gram Parsons.
That's right, I say, slap and ride the wave in.
Yeah. Is that what he says?
He says, your mama's so fat. Nope, not going to get it. Something about flour and slapping her ass. It's offensive, whatever.
Like, what?
Yeah, and then he kills him. So, yeah.
On that note.
So go out and kill it. Yeah.
We love you. See you next time on season 2.
Good night.
Good night, goodbye.
Burn on both sides, burn on both sides, burn. You get burned on both sides, burn on both sides, burn on both sides, burn. It just happens that way, it staggers and sways, the dagger's delayed from your heart. Sorry to be so bluntly deceived, but love is just pop-tarts. It happens that way, it staggers and sways, the dagger's delayed from your heart. Sorry to be so bluntly deceived, but love is just pop-tarts and